It's a very ornate birdcage. With the right tools, the padlock shouldn't be too difficult to break.
This has been left over from a party. The plants grow well in here. There's a lot of light. It's going to be fun talking to her, I can tell. Good morning. Let me introduce myself. My name's Victoria Conroy. I'll be a guest here for a while.
Greta Snyder, housekeeper. Honored to make your acquaintance.
Would it be okay if you told me something about your duties at the castle?
Let's say I'm responsible for making sure everything here is kept in perfect order.
I'm sure Henry Eistermeyer must be very experienced.
Of course. Unfortunately, he's starting to feel his age.
What are the caretaker's duties at the moment?
Maintenance. There's lots of little things he likes to take apart and then put back together again, as if the castle were his own personal toy.
Do you have a good working relationship with Stephen Klausman?
Mr. Klausman is good at his work. If only he would stop drinking.
Stephen Klausman, does he have what you'd call an alcohol problem?
I have tried to make him stop, but it's up to him too.
Stephen must have lived through many adventures. Did he ever tell you about them?
No. And if I were him, I wouldn't show off about certain sailors' goings-on. Everybody knows what sort of life they lead.
I'd like to ask you what you think of Raoul, the gardener.
Mr. Hernandez doesn't have much experience. He must learn to get on with the job.
What do you think of Carla Hoffman?
The girl's idle. What's needed in this job is a lot of sweat and elbow grease.
Carla's young and very pretty. I guess she has lots of men after her, right?
I'm not interested in what else she does outside working hours. But in the castle, I insist on a high moral standard. This isn't a calling house.
Sorry for being nosy, but the supervisor, what's he like at his work? I mean, what sort of person is he?
Mr. Anderson is an excellent director. And, if I may be so bold, a fine person too.
It's strange. Mr. Anderson seems more top manager than administrator. What did he accept this job for?
Their multinational was very insistent that he moved here from London. Obviously, they needed a well-qualified person like him.
What sort of relationship do you have with Ms. Roberts? You must have become friends after all these years.
She leads a very different lifestyle from me, and staff should never mix with the direction.
I'm starting to think that Ms. Roberts isn't very happy living here, in this sort of eternal vacation.
If the salt of hard work is missing, enjoyment becomes a tasteless dish. That's what they taught me. Anyway, it's her choice.
Did you see the greenhouse this morning? I really can't imagine what could have caused all that damage.
Nothing unusual. The old framework gave in. It just needs fixing.
Would you let me visit the old wing of the castle?
I'm sorry. I'm not allowed. Not without the supervisor's permission.
I heard about the gala evening here last week. Do you often hold important receptions?
Yes. If I may remind you, this castle is the headquarters for the multinational's business meetings.
Must be where all the dirty dealings of the multinational take place. It's an enormous table. A framed plaque. It's not easy to grow bonsai in these conditions. Typical pharmaceutical giveaways. A touch of tradition in an otherwise modern office. Very impressive. Nothing but pieces of paper. Nothing of interest. No, no good to me. If I enter the correct combination, the door will open. The security door will be hard to open. Stress management, photography, domestic birds. He's got it all. Mr. Anderson, could I detain you for just one more minute?
Naturally.
Do you have any idea what could have caused that explosion in the greenhouse this morning?
Unfortunately, I can't give you a precise answer as the cause hasn't yet been established. It seems to have been a structural fault. I must apologize for this little unscheduled incident.
Why is it that the castle was divided into two parts, the old wing and the modern wing? Was it the multinational's decision?
Let's say it's a sort of diplomatic agreement with the Commission for Cultural Preservation. Well, when we bought this place, it was clear that we were going to have to make great changes to modernize it. But we still had to safeguard the art and the antiques in some way. It seemed the best solution to close and preserve the oldest wing.
And would it be possible to see it, please?
I'm afraid I have to say no. Lately, the alarm system has been giving us a bit of a bother. And as much as I have complete faith in you, I really can't authorize entry to anybody.
I heard about the gala evening here last week. Do you often hold important receptions?
Our public relations impose a very high profile on us, conventions and meetings included. If you wanted, I could see that you got an invitation.
Oh, thank you. That would be really kind. Do you mind telling me what the supervisor's job entails?
I'll explain. This castle is an important business center for the multinational. They have invested a lot of money in it, especially in terms of financial and human resources. I'm the administrator of these resources, and it is my job to make profit out of them.
Do you live at the castle?
Yes, I do.
But with all the responsibility you have, do you manage to find time to yourself?
No, not a lot, I must say. I work to live and live to work. It's a saying that reflects the duties of this job exactly.
Where did you and Judy meet?
At a photo exhibition. I had gone to see a photo by Wenders, and there, right in front of it, were a couple who had been arguing for at least a half an hour, Judy and her boyfriend. I had the brilliant idea of intervening. I stuck up for her, and got a punch in the nose. An irony of sorts. After the wedding, I discovered that the guy was right.
Sorry if I'm being too personal, but don't you think someone like Judy might suffer as a result of her life here?
I don't know what you're getting at. Judith hasn't got any problems and is very well. I would thank you for your concern.
If it's not too much trouble, I'd be curious to hear what you have to say about the cook, Mr. Klausman.
He's a pretty good guy, works well, doesn't waste money, doesn't want too much money. Yes, I'm satisfied, and luckily so is my stomach.
I suppose you went to Mr. Klausman's past well before taking him on.
You suppose right?
And so you'd know why he left his old life aboard ship.
The things you want to know are confidential information. I can't tell you anything. It's a question of privacy.
What do you think of Mrs. Snyder?
You want my personal opinion? Greta is the best housekeeper you could ever find. She has a natural talent for order and discipline, not to mention her experience. No, I couldn't have hoped for a better worker.
Does Mrs. Snyder take her work seriously?
Of course, I trust her 100%.
I'd like to ask you what you think of Raoul, the gardener.
A true artist, he's incredibly gifted in the field of landscape gardening. Nobody could have put my ideas for the greenhouse into practice like he did. But Mr. Hernandez still has to learn that it's not a good idea to argue with the man who pays the bills.
What can you tell me about Mr. Eistermeyer?
Henry Eistermeyer? The most obstinate and conservative man I've ever met. Despite this, we're all indebted to him. This castle wouldn't be here anymore if it hadn't been for all the hard work he's put into the place since he was a young boy.
Seeing that Henry has lived here all his life, his knowledge of the castle must be a great advantage to you.
Well, yes, it's true, but unfortunately the downside is that... that Mr. Eistermeyer is completely over the age limit normal for this type of job. He should step down and hand in his notice. I've tried giving some of his jobs to our gardener. But Raoul has just created more problems because of these extra responsibilities. I'm very sorry for Henry, but it's my duty to get everything back to normal.
Did you ever notice Carla complaining about her colleagues, or maybe her work?
No, Carla's a quiet girl. She gets on with her work and I'm convinced that she loves it here. Yes, she's been a pretty good investment for us.
Judging by her looks, Carla must turn a lot of heads every time there's a reception here.
If you please, the staff should maintain a professional distance from all guests, and Miss Hoffman knows what the rules are.
They should easily break the padlock.
Hey, Henry! What's that cage doing open, Henry? Damn it.
We're never going to get it down now.
Well, I hope for your sake you're wrong. Come on, we'll try to catch it.
What's this? An invoice recording the installation of a wall safe in Anderson's apartment. Combination number 12480. It's a framed photo of Judy, Anderson's wife. She's wearing a really unusual necklace. Cigars. Anderson must love playing the manager. Snazzy computer. All mod cons here. At the moment, there's nothing in it. It's the door to a dark room, obviously where Anderson develops his photos. I like the way he captures the light in this piece. It's a plaque awarded for a photography competition. First prize, The City and the Future, 1985. Okay, done it. Now the door should open. Nothing in here. What a waste of space. Some books, a skull. No, nothing of interest on this shelf. Nothing useful in here. There's nothing but sheets of paper in here. I wonder what they keep in here. I'll take it. It might be useful. This pane of glass divides the room into two parts. It says nitric acid. Handle with care. I'll take a small dose of this acid. Good God, I don't believe it. There's a human heart being preserved in this liquid. I suppose I'm going to have to take it with me.